Now, I'm debating about this. I don't know how much I'm going to actually comment on this story. And to a certain extent, I'd love to go back and listen to the various phone calls that Andrew Schiff has made into this program. Because I find this quite stunning. Story in Bloomberg talking about our friend Andrew Schiff, the brother of Peter Schiff. Peter Schiff, of course, is the CEO of Euro-Pacific Capital, Inc. Now, I will say this about Peter Schiff. He had me on his show. It was very gracious. They reposted our video on their site. The challenge I made to Peter Schiff to answer the question if he was aware that his company in California, in providing health care to its employees, was under a mandate to provide free contraceptive prescription coverage for his female workers, and if he has hired less women or pays them less, as he suggested would happen if this happened nationally. So I want to know if he was aware of it, because he said this was such a burden on business. He must have been aware of it. It was weird that he didn't bring it up. And if he is aware of it, how much is he docking the pay of his female workers? And is he hiring less women because of it? But the best part of them reposting the challenge on their site was that it was only a 3-word post, a 3-line post. They didn't even respond to the actual challenge. But I think the quote was, what was the quote? Can you send me a link to the thing? The quote was, Sam is whining about the debate, and all he is relying on is data to prove his point. There is something in the mind of libertarians that are living in such a fantasy world that the idea of empirical data, they scoff at. They operate under these fundamental economic principles they talk about that are so fundamental, they only exist somewhere on some mountaintop, apparently in Austria. So when they look at data, they just say, well, we're not going to believe the data. We're just going to believe this guy from Austria whose principles have never been put into practice and can never be put into practice. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. But meanwhile, Andrew Schiff is his brother.
What it said was, Sam Seder recently lost a debate on Peter Schiff's radio show. He doesn't seem to be able to give it up. He still thinks that giving out free birth control will save money in the long run because he read a study about it.
Is the problem that I read the study or that it was a study? What magical information do these people have? Is it another study that refutes what? I just don't understand. I just don't understand how you make policy based upon just theory when you have actual data that doesn't support your theory. The only thing that I think in my mind I regret about the fact that Mitt Romney or Rick Santorum won't be president in 2013 is that it would mean that all these libertarians could go back to believing the other junk that they believed during the Bush administration, where they were just hardcore Bush supporters, which is exactly what the vast majority of these people would become. There will always be outliers and still people who, but most of the Peter Schiff followers, sure, would just return back to form. So, Bloomberg. Was this Bloomberg? This Max Abelson story? Yes, Bloomberg. Andrew Schiff was sitting in a traffic jam in California this month after giving a speech at an investment conference about gold. He turned off the satellite radio, got out of the car, and screamed a profanity. I'm not Zen at all, and when I'm freaking out about the situation where I'm stuck like a rat in a trap on a highway with no way to get out, it's very hard. Schiff, director of marketing for broker-dealer Euro Pacific Capital, said in an interview. I think I want to start this analysis of this story by saying that I have done nothing but scream profanity when I'm stuck in traffic in L.A. I hate being in L.A. And it is a horrible place to be. So this is where I sympathize. The rest of the story becomes a little more difficult for me. Schiff is facing another kind of jam this year, paid a lower bonus. He said the $350,000 he earns doesn't cover his family's private school tuition, a Kent, Connecticut summer rental, and the upgrade they would like from their 1,200 square foot Brooklyn duplex. I feel stuck, Schiff said. The New York that I wanted to have is still just beyond my reach. I don't have a dishwasher. We do all our dishes by hand. Dude, that's why you have 2 kids. Right? Isn't that the whole theory, right? Like, people used to have kids to go and work in the sweatshops and the factories, and that's why we don't need child labor laws anymore or something like that because, people are doing well. Your kids should be doing this. You should not be doing these dishes by hand. Schiff said he brings home less than $200,000 after taxes, health insurance, and 401k contributions. So wait a second, your brother doesn't offer health insurance? At all? Well, that's weird. If Euro Pacific Capital doesn't offer health insurance, why would it make a difference if they had to get contraceptive prescriptions, medication for their employees? I'm confused. So you gross $350,000 and you take home less than $200,000 after taxes? But I mean, making $350,000 is the low end because your bonuses, you gotta personal responsibility. You got to save more. And you got to see if your employer will give you some health insurance.